Hello everyone, hope you're enjoying your Monday night. About a week ago I did a video which was a 90s time capsule where I just shared a bunch of collectibles and stuff that I kept from way back then. I found some more stuff, so I figured, hey, let's do it again. Not all this stuff is from the 90s, some of it is slightly older, but it's all pretty cool, so let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, we've got a VHS copy of WrestleMania 3. This is from back in 1987, and the show was main evented by the famous match between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant that cemented Hulkamania as an American cultural phenomenon. It was also, for its time, one of the best attended WrestleManias, and it was considered a high point of the wrestling boom in the 1980s. You might notice this tape cost $39.95 back when it was released. That's about $90 in today's dollars. For some reason, wrestling tapes were very expensive back then. Your average VHS video for a regular movie would be about $20, but these were always more, usually between $40 and $60. Up next, in keeping with our wrestling theme, we have an Eddie Guerrero WCW Trading Card. This is from a collection of WCW cards, and it is actually autographed. Now, if you are a wrestling fan, then you remember that Eddie Guerrero actually died a few years back, and so this is quite a valuable piece. Now, I didn't get the autograph personally. I did buy it from a very reputable sports memorabilia company, and this is a very valuable piece of my collection, so I do keep it in a locked safe to make sure it's 100% secure at all times. Moving on, we have a CD copy of Will Smith, Big Willie style. Yes, kids, Will Smith used to make music. He doesn't do it much anymore, but if you were a kid that went through the 1990s, you know that Will Smith music was everywhere. I do not listen to this much anymore, but every once in a while, I might pop it in just for old time's sake. Up next, we have issue number 1 of Darkhawk. Now, this guy you're not going to see in the MCU anytime soon. This particular comic is from 1991, and the basic origin story is that this guy, and I forget his non-superhero name, his alter ego name, but he found a crystal that allowed him to turn into Darkhawk and I guess kick bad guys' butt. It wasn't super popular. It was canned after about 50 issues, I believe, but he was one of the Marvel heroes that was around during the 1990s. I actually have a bunch more of these issues because I found a bunch of them really cheap a while back at a thrift shop, so I decided to load up. Also, on the back of this comic, there's a really cool ad for Castlevania 3 on the NES, and inside the comic itself, there's also some great retro ads for some other video games as well. Speaking of video games, up next we have the NES Game Atlas. Now, on my last video, I talked about a book I had called How to Win at Nintendo, which was not published by Nintendo. This one is, and it includes strategies for just about all your major Nintendo franchises. You've got Mario, Zelda, Mega Man, Ninja Turtles, Ninja Gaiden. All the major NES games are in here. Like, for example, here's the splash page for Legend of Zelda, where they've got a little design there and a little blurb about the game. And then on the next page, it's going to give you all the strategy you need. Like, there's a map and some other information, so it's really cool stuff. Before you could get all the walkthroughs and maps and stuff on the internet, you had to have one of these puppies, and we made very, very good use of them, as anybody who played video games back then will tell you. And last but not least, we have a Shuttlecraft from the USS Enterprise D. This was part of a series of Star Trek The Next Generation toys put out by Playmates in 1994. It's one of the few toys I still have from that collection. I have a couple of the action figures around somewhere. I wish I had them for this video. I'm not entirely sure where they are. Hopefully I can dig them out and maybe feature them on an upcoming video. We'll see. The cool thing about this is that it opens in the back, so you can put action figures in the back and sit them down, or it opens up front and you can strap an action figure into the pilot's seat and do it that way. Another interesting thing about this, it has wheels on it. So if you want to put this on a floor and roll it around, you can do that too. It's faded a little bit over time, but it's actually in pretty good condition, all things considered, for being a 25-year-old toy. And it's one of the cooler pieces of Star Trek collectibles that I own. So that's kind of a nice little thing to have there. So that's basically it for our second throwback video. I'm confident that I'll be doing more of these because I'm having a lot of fun doing them. But I do thank you for joining me, and have a great rest of your night.